All right, guys, sit down for this one because I've got a story that you honestly couldn't make up if you tried. I mean, this is one of the most insane quarterback situations I've ever seen in the NFL. And yes, it's happening right now in Cleveland. So let me take you back real quick. Imagine you're the Cleveland Browns. You finally think you found your guy. You go all in and hand Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed $230 million contract. That's right, fully guaranteed. That's more guaranteed money than the GDP of some small countries. I'm not even exaggerating. This was supposed to be the move that ended the carousel of quarterbacks we've been spinning on for decades. And then, it all just fell apart. Not only has Deshaun been bad on the field, I mean, seriously, he's been missing throws, reading defenses like a rookie, completely out of rhythm. But you factor in all the off-the-field drama too, and it just becomes a total disaster. And as if that wasn't already bad enough, the guy goes down with a season-ending Achilles injury in 2023. And now, there's a real chance he might not even play in 2025. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. So now I'm sitting here as a Browns fan, stuck with the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history, and absolutely zero reliable quarterbacks on my roster. No Deshaun, no security blanket, just a lot of cap space tied up, and a giant question mark under center. So what do the Browns do? Do they panic? Do they quietly sign a veteran and try to ride it out? Nah, they go full chaos mode. Like full send, into quarterback madness. They bring in 2 veterans and then draft 2 more quarterbacks in the same offseason. 4 new QBs, 1 team, 1 depth chart. It's like a reality show for quarterbacks. And the wild part, every single one of these guys has a wild, twisted, totally unpredictable backstory. So let's walk through this because, honestly, this quarterback room is one of the most fascinating stories in the NFL right now. Let's start with the most shocking storyline of them all. The return of Joe Flacco. Yeah, you heard that right. Joe Flacco. The man is 40 years old. He's played for more teams than I can count without running out of fingers. And yet, somehow, he comes back to Cleveland and looks like he just drank from the fountain of youth. I still can't believe what I saw last season. After Deshaun went down, Flacco steps in, and suddenly we're watching 2012 Joe Flacco again. He goes 4-1 as a starter, throws for over 1,600 yards, and literally carries the team to the playoffs. At 39 years old, the guy wins AP Comeback Player of the Year. That's not supposed to happen, and now, here in 2025 OTAs, guess what? He's still got it. According to ESPN's Danielle Oyefusi, Flacco's been the most consistent guy running the offense. He's pushing the ball downfield like a madman, showing confidence, poise, and leadership. In team drills, he completed 9 of 14 passes with a touchdown and no picks. It's like watching your grandpa walk into the gym and outbench everyone. It just doesn't compute. And don't get it twisted, Joe isn't here to be a babysitter. He said it himself. I see myself as a guy who can still play in this league. And when they asked if he's here to mentor, he basically said, the best way to lead is by showing how you work. Translation: I'm not here to babysit these rookies. I'm here to take your job. Kevin Stefanski has been singing his praises, too. He said Flacco was awesome for the team, battled like crazy, and brought leadership when they needed it most. And let's be real, no one in that room knows Stefanski's offense better than Joe Flacco. That familiarity, plus what he did last year, gives him a real edge in this QB battle. Now, let's move on to Kenny Pickett. Because this guy's journey, it's a total soap opera. So Pickett gets drafted 20th overall by the Steelers back in 2022. That's already awkward. Drafted by a division rival of the Browns. He ends up going 14-10 as a starter in Pittsburgh. Not great, but not terrible either. And then the Steelers decide to bring in Justin Fields and sign Russell Wilson. And Kenny? He wants nothing to do with a quarterback competition. Doesn't want to fight for the job. So he gets traded to Philadelphia of all places. And Philly? They don't want him either. So now they flip him again. And he ends up right here in Cleveland. I mean, think about that. The guy gets traded twice in a matter of weeks. And now he's here trying to prove he even belongs in the league. The Browns gave up Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a fifth-rounder to get him. And Andrew Berry said they did it because they believe in his physical tools and think he'll thrive in our system. Which is funny, because when's the last time you heard someone say, the Brown system is where a quarterback goes to flourish? Still, Stefanski's been high on him from day one. He said, Kenny works hard, studies the game, thinks the right way, and is as tough as they come. And look, Pickett's getting a fair shot. He's been splitting first-team reps with Joe Flacco during OTAs. According to reports, he even entered the offseason program as the front-runner for the job. But here's where things get dicey. His practice numbers haven't been great. Again, I know it's just OTAs and we shouldn't overreact to 7-on-7 drills. But so far, he's completed 9 of 16 passes, no touchdowns, no picks. That's not terrible, but it's not exactly lighting the world on fire either. It screams game manager. Safe, but uninspiring. He's still only 26, though. And this might be his final shot to prove he's a legit NFL starter. It's a huge moment for his career. Now let's talk about the rookies. First up, Dillon Gabriel. The Browns took Gabriel with the 94th overall pick in the third round of the draft. And a lot of people, myself included, were scratching their heads. Pro Football Focus had him ranked 164th overall, so on paper, it looked like a massive reach. But here's what the Browns saw that the rest of us maybe didn't. Dillon Gabriel has one of the most decorated college resumes I've ever seen. 6 years of college football, played at 3 different programs, started 63 games. That's more than any other quarterback in FBS history. That's crazy. In 2024 at Oregon, he threw for almost 3,900 yards, completed nearly 73% of his passes, and led the Ducks to a perfect 13-0 season and a Big Ten title. The dude just wins. Andrew Berry said they fell in love with his experience, poise, anticipation, accuracy, and mobility. Sure, he's a little short for an NFL quarterback, but they didn't think that hurt his game. And so far, Gabriel's been solid in camp. Not flashy, but steady. In OTAs, he completed 11 of 16 passes with 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. And the real eye-opener, he got a first-team reps over Shadur Sanders in rookie minicamp. That raised some eyebrows. Speaking of Shadur, let's get to the guy you probably clicked this video to hear about. Shadur Sanders. Heading into this past draft, Shadur was talked about as a potential top 5 pick. I mean, everyone thought this guy was going in the first round. But things changed, and somehow he slid all the way down to the 5th round. The Browns saw him falling, and they traded up to get him. At Colorado, he put up video game numbers, 4,134 passing yards, 74% completion rate, 37 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions. He won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, and the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. But then the critics came out. People started saying, yeah, he's accurate, but all he does is throw checkdowns and bubble screens. In other words, they questioned whether the stats matched NFL-level ability. Still, I'm telling you now, there's a real buzz around Shadur. He's got the pedigree. He's got the confidence. And in a quarterback room as wide open as this, don't sleep on him making a run at the job. So, yeah, 4 quarterbacks, 4 different stories. One giant, chaotic QB battle in Cleveland. I don't know who's going to win the job, but I do know this. It's going to be wild to watch. So let me take you guys into the heart of one of the most unexpected stories coming out of Brown's OTAs. Because what happened this past Wednesday absolutely blew my mind. I'm not just talking about a decent day from a young quarterback. I'm talking about a moment that genuinely shook up the entire quarterback conversation in Cleveland. And no, it wasn't Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco stealing the spotlight. It was Shadur Sanders. Yeah, that's Shadur Sanders. The fifth-round rookie that most folks thought would just quietly develop behind the scenes this year. He walked into OTA, practice, and delivered a performance that made people, coaches, reporters, fans, start questioning everything they thought they knew about the Browns' quarterback depth chart. During that single OTA session, Shadur completed 9 of 14 passes. That's a solid 65% completion rate, but here's where it gets really juicy. 3 of those completions went for touchdowns, and he only threw 1 pick. And get this, he did all that without taking a single first-team rep. That's right. All of this happened while he was throwing to second and third string guys, going up against backup defenders. But the execution, the command, the poise, it was first string all day long. I mean, if you didn't know his draft status or his position on the depth chart, you'd swear you were watching the team's starting QB out there. He looked that sharp. Now, obviously, one good practice doesn't make someone the next franchise quarterback. I get that. But this wasn't just a few flashy throws. This was a consistently smart, efficient, confident performance. And when your fifth-round rookie is out there, slicing up a defense in structured team drills, that's a sign. Not hype, a sign. Even Tommy Rees, the new offensive coordinator, couldn't stop himself from praising the kid. And you can tell when a coach is just giving the usual, he's doing fine, versus when they're actually impressed. Rees talked about how Shadur has clearly been grinding, really diving into the mental side of the game. He said you can tell the kid has been putting in serious time, learning the system, understanding the rhythm of the offense, and figuring out how to lead a unit. And when that mental work starts paying off, the game slows down. You're no longer just reacting. You're processing. You're controlling the pace. And that's exactly what Shadur did out there. But let me tell you what really turned heads. The best throw of the entire day, according to multiple beat reporters who were there in person. Red zone drills. 7-on-7. Everything's tight. Space is limited. And Shadur drops an absolute dime in the back corner of the end zone to tight end Caden Davis. I'm talking about a throw where the window is razor thin and the ball lands exactly where it needs to. Away from the defender, right on time, right in stride. It was surgical. The kind of throw you see on a highlight reel and have to replay 3 times just to believe it was real. It wasn't luck. It was timing, precision, confidence. That's when people started whispering, and I mean really whispering, hey, what if? Now, here's the big question everyone's been asking. Who's leading this quarterback competition right now? What's Stefanski thinking? From the outside, it looks like Stefanski is treating this like a chess match. He's playing his cards close to the vest. Publicly, he's staying neutral, giving every quarterback their props, talking about rotating guys, mixing up the reps, getting everyone exposure to the offense. But if you really start looking at the distribution of reps and the language Stefanski uses when talking about these guys, you start to see something deeper. Right now, Pickett and Flacco are getting the majority of the first-team reps. No surprise there. Pickett was brought in to compete, and Flacco is the veteran who helped get the Browns to the playoffs last year. Dylan Gabriel is running ahead of Shadur on the depth chart, at least officially. But again, listen to how Stefanski describes each guy. With Pickett, it's all about grit and work ethic. He's always saying things like, Kenny's a tough kid. He's wired the right way. He's a gym rat. With Flacco, it's about comfort and experience. He knows the system. He's been here before. He's steady. With Gabriel, Stefanski talks about fundamentals and development. You can tell they see him as a long-term project. But when Stefanski talks about Shadur Sanders, man, that's different. There's real admiration in his voice. He says things like, he's a very impressive young man, raised the right way, obviously a heck of a football player. But what's really impressed me is the person. That doesn't sound like generic coach speak. That's personal. That's emotional. That's someone who wants to believe in this kid. And now let's look at the numbers from practice, because numbers don't lie. And they tell a totally different story than the depth chart does. Shadur Sanders, 9 of 14, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, all with backups. Dylan Gabriel, 11 of 16, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he got some first-team reps. Joe Flacco, 9 of 14, 1 touchdown, no picks, steady, as expected. Kenny Pickett, 9 of 16, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, safe, but not inspiring. So what do I think happens next? Look, I still believe that when Week 1 rolls around, Kenny Pickett is going to be under center. He's the safe option. He's got starting experience. He's saying all the right things. And Stefanski knows what he's getting with him. Joe Flacco sticks around as the veteran mentor, maybe a mid-season emergency option. Dylan Gabriel continues to grow quietly in the background. But Shadur, he's not going to stay buried for long. I don't care what the initial depth chart says. If Pickett comes out the gate being conservative and the offense looks flat, Stefanski's going to start hearing the noise. The media is going to start asking questions. The locker room will notice who's moving the ball in practice. And I'm telling you right now, if the Browns' offense stalls early, Shadur Sanders is going to get his shot. And once he gets that shot, I don't think he gives it back. I think by Week 6, Shadur Sanders is the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And he won't just be a placeholder. I think this kid has the tools, the poise, and the mental sharpness to actually take over this team for good. Arm talent, leadership, decision-making. He's got a real shot to be something special. But hey, that's just my take. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are we reading too much into one OTA session, or is this the beginning of a legit quarterback shakeup in Cleveland? And as always, I'll be bringing you more updates on the Browns and other teams throughout the offseason. If there's another player, another camp battle, or another team you want me to break down, just drop it in the comments. I've got you. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.